Oh my goodness. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Momentum Boost. I am so happy to be back. Thrilled, in fact, after a month off. We were on a hiatus for a month, and we really missed all of you. We missed our connection. We missed our weekly interactions with you. But today's guest will bring it all home with a bang. Okay. Lihi Lapid is a very special half of a very big power couple. She herself is a best-selling author, journalist, and speaker. She has her finger on the pulse of contemporary women's issues. In Israel, you should know, she is considered a national treasure. She has a huge fan base, especially amongst the women. So she really is a star there in Israel, and soon she'll be a star around the world because she's been writing a weekly newspaper column for the Israeli paper, Yediot Achronot. It's their weekend edition for over 10 years. She's that followed. She's written 3 best-selling novels, Secrets from Within, Woman of Valor, and I Can't Always Be Wonderful. She's a best-selling children's book writer too. And prior to becoming a writer, Ms. Lapid was a professional news photographer. She's also on Momentum's Israel Public Council. Oh, and wait, just one more thing. Oh, yes. She also happens to be married to the Prime Minister of Israel in waiting. So power couple indeed. Now, Lee's most translated book is called Woman of Valor. So this title, it might be familiar to those of you who read or sing the prayer Eshet Chayil on Friday nights at our Shabbat table. Eshet Chayil means woman of valor. Have you ever actually read the translation into English? Well, let me tell you, I have. In fact, in our house, we say it in English. Now, some say it was written by King Solomon, and others say it was written from Abraham for his wife Sarah when she passed away. But either way, its description of the archetypical Jewish woman has her doing everything from making belts for the merchants to planting a vineyard. She provides for her household. She invests her arms with strength. Only wisdom comes out of her mouth. In short, she's the pillar and the anchor and the foundation of her home. So I just want us all to recognize right here, right now, that the very first Jewish woman, Sarah, and the woman that this is written about, our matriarch, they were not at home baking cookies, my friends. The idea of a pampered Jewish princess is no more really than an anti-Semitic slur that needs to be pushed away. And it has no basis in reality. A Jewish woman is a powerhouse, just like our guest tonight. So I recently had the honor, the privilege to speak with Lihi, and here's what she had to say about being a woman of valor. Hi, Lihi. Welcome.
Hi.
I'm so honored you're joining us. For those of you who don't know, Lihi's on our Israel Public Council. And for those of you outside of the land of Israel, you should know that Lihi is such a beloved journalist and an author and a public figure. So what I'm asking you today, to begin with anyway, is to share your career trajectory. You have spilled so much ink to the dynamic of the family life and a woman's role in all of it. Can you share a little bit of that with me today?
Hi to everybody, and it's a big honor for me to be with you. Thanks for starting with Woman of Valor that does everything. And it started, I started writing when I became a mother. Until then, I was a news photographer, very tough, with a motorbike. And then I started writing because I felt that everybody are telling us all the time we can do everything. And I couldn't do everything or anything. And I started realizing that you need to give up on certain things in order to succeed in others, and the whole dynamic of being a mother. And I don't know, everybody say that it's the heart of the house, and it is the house heart. And I felt that there's a big change between being a young woman in this modern world that you can try or think or want to achieve a lot of things, and becoming a mother. And it changed something in your soul, in-house, out of the house. And that's where my writing started.
Did your writing start because you didn't need a motorbike and a big video camera to be running around the city, but you wanted to express yourself creatively? Or did it start because you had things you wanted to say that couldn't be captured in images or photographs?
I think when I became a mother, I realized that being what I was until that time, a news photographer running around, I can't do it if I want to breastfeed, if I want my kids to be safe in their seat in the car. So I can't go on the motorbike. I need to watch myself. And I wanted to scream. I wanted to shout that everybody told us you can't do everything. And when I realized that I can't, I felt that someone either lied to me or fooled me. And I wanted to shout. I wanted at the beginning to do a photo exhibition about motherhood and the change that it changed me. But everything was so sweet and I wanted to scream. So I started writing. I called the book at the beginning, "Why Didn't You Tell Me?" It ended up with a different name, but that was the thing I wanted to say, that everybody are talking so much about achieving, about succeeding more and more and lean in and all those things. And I felt that people are less talking to me about, okay, what is this moment for you? What do you want inside the house? What do you want your life to be emotionally, not just
It's interesting, Lihi, because somebody said to me when I had children, and I was already into my 30s when I had my first kids, and also was a career woman and working all the time. And my self-definition was, aren't I fabulous? And I had these kids and I fell in love in a way. I think my children taught me how to love. In retrospect, I don't even think I loved my husband. I didn't know how to love until I had a child. And then someone said to me, you can have it all, just not at the same time.
You know, now that my kids are grown up and I look back and I remember that I thought it will take ages until they grow up, but they grow up kind of quickly.
Yeah, they do.
And yes, and now, you know, I felt that I'm giving up on going abroad or lecturing or doing things that I can do now when they're grown-ups and they can text message me any moment. So in a way, yeah, time changes us. And you know that I once said that women are, you know, men, they start and they climb, okay? And women are like kangaroos, okay? We do something, then we do a huge jump into another phase in life, into another goal that we want to achieve. We stay there a little bit, we learn, we know, and then we do another huge jump. So in a way, I think that women are having different times in their lives that they're doing different things. And that's what's so interesting, because you can have a friend and you meet her and she changes.
Yeah.
She's a different woman.
Yes.
Every few years, she finds something that enthusiasms her. And,
yes.
And that's what I very much love about women and womenhood, all this friendship, because I'm sure that if I met you 15 years ago, our whole conversation would be different. And you
Oh,
are
yeah.
different. I was
Oh,
different.
yes. Well,
And
15 years ago with small children, we're just surviving, really. We're just trying to
yeah,
survive.
but even more emotionally, we are growing bigger, not older, but bigger. I think women.
Let me ask you something. There's a very famous quote from the first chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Rav Kook, and he gives over this principle that love happens in concentric circles, that the inner circle is your relationship with yourself, taking care of yourself. Beyond that, your family, beyond that, all the Jewish people, beyond that, all the nations of the world, beyond that, all the animals, beyond that, everything that crawls on the ground. And he says that the relationship with the outer circles is related to your relationship with the inner circle. Do you think women do it backwards? Do you think that women ignore the inner circle of themselves, focus on everything but, and put themselves last? And if so, what do you think of that?
Yes, we have this tendency to put ourselves last, to take care of everybody, and at the end, take care of ourselves. At the end, I think that a house with a happy woman or mother is a happy house. And when a woman is not happy, she's unhappy, and she feels that she gives too much and she gets too little, and this gap is growing inside her.
Yes.
It doesn't worth it, and it's not happy for everybody, for all the rest, because when you give and you are empty, it's difficult, and your present is less fulfilling for others, because at the end, I think that our kids and also husbands and friends, they need our love more than all the other things that we want to give them. Okay, and I started as a bad cook. Okay, now I'm better, but when you sit with your kids with something really not so good to eat, but you really focus on him and you really listen to him. So for him, it's the whole world. So yes, I think we need to take care of being happy. I can say, I want to say it because a lot of women that will watch us, they don't really know me. So I want to say that I learned it the hard way. I have to say, I have a daughter. I have a son and a daughter, and I have a daughter that she's autistic, and she's on the tough end of the spectrum, and I remember understanding that taking care of her is the most important thing in my life, of course, but if I won't be happy, I can't take care of this whole huge, amazing, sometimes very difficult role that I got in life. And you talked about taking care of yourself. I think even, I will say more, as much as you need to give more because your family needs you more, or there is someone that is having hard time, we have sometimes parents that are needing, that needs us very, very much.
Sure.
You can give only if you are strong in your soul, and you can't be strong if you don't take care of yourself. And I had my grandmother. She was a Polish tough woman, Grandpa Tzipora. Very. And they used to have a sentence that they would say about other women, bad women. Okay, a sentence that they would say, she she is a woman that loves herself. Okay, and that was the most horrible thing you can
Wow.
say about a woman.
Wow.
And it took me years. And now if I could meet my grandma Tzipora for once more, I would tell her that I want to teach our daughters to love themselves.
Oh, Lihi.
And I want to teach us really, really to love ourselves, because then you can spread it all over, really. So
Fundamental Jewish principle. Obviously, this is the inner affecting the outer. You know, because you're on our public council, you understand that, you know, the momentum vision was that if you can take a woman away from her usual responsibilities and obligations, and you can take care of her needs, then you open a space for her to care for herself and to grow. And then she brings that back and she brings it to her family and to her community and ultimately the world. This has been our principle. I think that it's because we also believe that the woman is the change maker, the greatest influencer. But there will be people who are listening to us who might say, oh, you know, you're not much of a feminist. What I'm hearing here is that, you know, this is all about the home and the family and the children. But what I hear you saying is that this is about taking care of yourself first and having two passions.
You know, even now when you say it, it's difficult for me to say, take care of yourself first, but I'm saying, take care of yourself also. Don't put yourself behind. You know, you said about the trip of momentum imagine, you know, when you go back from this trip after 10 days, right, of how much you can experience in 10 days. And when you take ordinary 10 days in our lives, they are so full of obligations and things we need to do and things we need to arrange. And when you take us for 10 days out of everything, we can grow up so much. At the feminist thing, I remember that this understanding that I can say, it's my turn now, okay? It's my turn to publish a book. I need this time from from my family. This is my year of even going on a book tour with my book when it's published, which I couldn't do when the kids were very small, but it was difficult for me to leave everything and go for 10 days of a book tour. But part of this understanding that I can take my time and I can and it can help me grow up is also at the end very feminist, because it's not just that it gives me energy and ability to take care of my kids. It's also gives me the ability to say, you know what, now it's my turn. And now I want to do something, even if it's huge and big for me.
Let me ask you something. I hope this isn't too personal. Was your first child your daughter? Your child with autism?
No, she was my second. She was my second child. They're a year and 1 month apart.
Oh my
so
God.
It's almost like like twins. So that was the experience of having small kids that they need me all the time, and my daughter needs me all the time also now. But it's also, you know, this whole issue of independence, of being independent, of helping your kids to be as independent as they possibly can is very much into my life and into my I don't know, vision of something that we need to talk about.
Let me let me also ask you, I mean, two kids a year apart, you're right, it's like twins. Um, your husband is also a very busy, prominent person.
Yeah.
You're a power couple. How much help navigating that happened as a couple, and how much of it was mostly on you? Let's just be honest and realistic here.
Wow. Um,
No judgment.
I no, not judging. Um, um, you know what? Maybe what we talked about before is that for us, sometimes filling the gap of of being heartbroken and worries, we fill the gap with doing, with a lot of doing.
Huh.
And many times because we are afraid, or we and I think that the fact that Yair was, my husband, was there, but he was like a huge, strong stone that I can lean on when it's difficult, that I can, and you know what? He taught me something very important. He said, you need to let other people help you. You don't allow people to help you.
Oh,
And I think as women, you know, when someone asks you, they are coming for dinner or something, should I bring anything? Immediately you say, no, no, no. And sometimes you say, oh, wow, I don't have wine. If you would bring wine, it would be easier for me and I wouldn't need to run now to buy wine. And we don't allow ourselves to say, oh, great, bring a cake because I'm eating salads. So if you'll bring a cake, learning to get help, to open, to know how to ask help. I I had big luck that it's easy for me to ask my parents for help when the kids were small, and from them I learned that they're so happy to help me. So I know that my friends will be happy to help me. And also I learned that Yair was happy to help me. Men, I have to say, sorry, they need more strict
instructions. Yes.
instructions. Yeah.
Sure.
They're less good in asking or saying what you need. So when I learned to ask, it was suddenly to ask for help, suddenly things changed.
Lihi, I have been struggling with that my whole life. In fact, it's only been in the last few years that I have been able to ask for help. And I'll tell you something, it's a generosity, because for us, those who won't ask, it's about being controlling. We think it's because we're so self-sufficient, but it's about wanting to be in control. If I ask my husband to do something and he doesn't do it the way I like it, do I redo it? Do I complain about it? Do I, what do I do? Can I sit with someone else's help, even if it's not exactly the way that I would have wanted it? And I'm probably 20 years older than you, so good for you for learning early. So, Lee, I want to ask you something about Israel. Obviously, one of the pillars of momentum is a connection to Israel, and engaging with Israel is a core value for us. So, given that we know that mothers are the change makers, as an Israeli mother, how does our mission line up with your life? And what message would you like to give, not just the women of the diaspora, but an Israeli mother as well, to kind of round out your incredible honesty?
It's a huge and amazing question. I think when my son went to the army and he decided really to be a soldier, and I think my meeting with the Momentum women at that time, understanding that our story here is bigger than what we see. It's that the whole ties are bigger. And you know, when you see a mother that sends her child here to be in the army, or you see a woman that never thought she will come to Israel, and she's going to the Kotel, and she's feeling something that she never felt before. So this whole thing of me being an Israeli and another Jewish woman being somewhere else, or another Israeli woman is here, it's this thing that connects all of us. And suddenly you realize how important Israel is, not just for us, just also for it's maybe it's not nice to say, but for the world.
Of course it is.
So in a way, I got a lot of power from Momentum, from meeting the women from Momentum, seeing they're enthusiastic about enthusiasm about Israel and about what they see, and then it gave me a lot of strength, knowing how important is this country, this small country at the end of nowhere, how important it is for this whole circle of life.
Oh, well, that's as good a place to end as any. I could talk to you for hours. You know, the next time we talk, I want to talk about what it's like when both parts of the couple are public figures. You know, your husband's a politician, and, you know, you're a journalist, and you're both public figures. I want to know what it's like to, you know, be in a home where the outside world is like looking at you going, ah, the Lapids. And inside your house, you're going, empty the dishwasher. You know, like how do you balance the public world and the private world? So can we talk about that again in the future?
Yeah, I would be happy to. It was very interesting for me and very emotional to talk about all those things. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Lihi, you're an angel. Thank you. And my blessing to you, my bracha to you, is that you keep asking and asking and asking. It's going to change everything. Your children should be healthy and well. You and your husband should stay happy and productive till 120. Bless you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for all of you watching, thank you.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That woman is incredible. I'm just curious. We have a couple of minutes left before we do this. Could you, hi, Sylvia, Mindy, everybody who's been writing in the chat, I'm curious. You know, we're coming into the new year. It's almost Rosh Hashanah. You're hearing, you know, tonight from a woman of, she's essentially the first lady of Israel. This is a woman with an autistic child, a woman who, you know, has navigated taking care of herself, factoring herself into the equation. How are you? Write it in the chat for me. I'd be very curious. How are you moving forward into this new year, going to find a way to deal with the inner circle of yourself? What are you going to do? I'm not talking about self-care. I'm not talking about taking a bath and like reading a book. I'm talking about really tangibly deciding that without you being in your skin, it's not possible for you to do your job the way you need to. Mindy says forgiveness. Wow. Yeah. Self-forgiveness. Is that what you're talking about, or forgiveness of others? Because one of the things I've noticed is that many of us who are people pleasers are very happy to forgive everyone else except ourselves, not thinking you have to be perfect. You know, you're saying both. Self-forgiveness, says Michelle. Oh, yeah, well, you know, it all begins with that. The truth is, when we stand in front of God on Rosh Hashanah, it's really important for you to remember that the heavens want you to just take ownership for all of the flaws and all of the issues and all the problems. And in no way are you expected to be a person without flaws, without mistakes. When you're called, where are you? Answer honestly. That's all we can do. You know, Dana was just saying, letting go of narratives that don't serve her anymore, letting go of stuff that you can't change. Allison's saying, accepting that some things are out of our hands. Yeah, you know what? Almost everything. You know what's in our hands? Not what happens to us, but who we are in the face of what happens to us. Anyway, thanks, guys. Thanks for coming in with that. It makes a big difference. And I'm really glad you joined us tonight.